Welcome. First, we want to thank everyone for watching our videos in 2019. We really appreciate it and want to thank you for your ongoing support. And we appreciate all the comments you've shared with us as well as your stories. So in this video, what we're going to look at is some of the news stories and challenges that we're going to be looking at. We're going to call them strategies for 2020 as we enter this new decade. And what we're suggesting is that make this one of your New Year's resolution, which is to rid yourself of the child support program. So let's get started. Hello, my name is Chris. And in this year-end session, we'll discuss and take a look back of some of the activities, what has happened with the child support program, as well as how we could use that information going forward in 2020 in order to separate yourself from the program. As we've said on this channel, our goal is to educate you on tips and strategies that demonstrate how you can at least fend off or slow down what's happening to you within the child support program. As always, our non-lawyer maxim, again, we'll continue to repeat that our goal is to educate you in how the child support program interferes with your rights. So let's take a look back at 2019, some of the activities. We have listed on the screen here some things that we thought were monumental within the program. There may be other things, but we've selected these items. First, the revocation of a child of the driver's license program. We reviewed our video called Give Back My License. We reviewed the case called Cavadas versus New Jersey DMV, where a group of gentlemen actually won their case in court, and the judge, Judge Jacobs, ruled that the child support program was unconstitutional and that all the license within the state of New Jersey should be returned. There was another case that got started in 2019 called Wright versus Family Support Division. Well, we didn't do a video on that. We were aware of the case, and we'll keep track of it as it progresses. But it was still in the middle of litigation. Therefore, we did not feel the need, or I didn't feel the need, that we should cover that case until it's further along in its process. Next, in March, electronic income withholding orders. There was a story where the Federal Office of Child Support has entered into a collaborative contract with your employer. That is, they give them the opportunity to actually create or what they call bring compliance with all the administrative orders quickly and conveniently. We'll talk more about that in 2020, how you can take advantage of this, but understand what they're doing. Your employer is now cooperating with the child support, whereas they will take your money while you're working for them as a fee for basically submitting payments to the child support program. In February, South Carolina has improved their statewide child support system. They are now the last state that has finally signed on to what is called the automated payment system. In South Carolina, it's called the Palmetto Automated Child Support System. Many of you in South Carolina are familiar with that program. Well, finally, they now came on board along with all the other 50 states, and it's now federally certified according to the rules of the child support. So those are the stories that we felt were ones to highlight. There may be others, but this is what we think are the ones that we'll focus on in 2020. In 2019, we started looking at the business side of the Office of Child Support. Yes, it is a separate organization, but it's also a business. And we revealed that the child support program, with their 2018 data, they always report a year behind. So even though we're going into 2020, the 2019 details won't be available until later this year. But in 2018, they collected $28.5 billion for the program. And they stated that they paid out $27.4 billion. And this translates to, for every dollar they collected in the program, right? For every $5 they collect program, they pay out $1. So that means this is a very profitable program. Also, we pointed out that the difference between the collected rate of the 28 billion and the payout rate, there is $1 billion in there. So theoretically, they're operating in a very good margins. And we'll continue to do that throughout 2020. This brings us to our call to action. Our call to action section is where we give you tips, strategies, suggestions, and how you can separate from the program. So at the end of this video, we have an additional bonus information we'll share with you in our call to action section, but we're going to focus on these three areas: the licensing program, the income withholding program, as well as the 1099 category or independent workers. So we've said on this channel over and over again, 45 CFR 264.30, that is, every man in this country has been enrolled in the child support program. It's just that a few of you have an active case. We have a video in 2019 that we published called Defend My Rights. We suggest that you take a look at that video again, or just refresh yourself, refresh your information about that video and your rights. So here we are in the new decade, 2020. We're humbly asking that you subscribe to this channel. If you take advantage of the subscription, which is like or a comment, and hit the notification bell, it is free to do that, but it gives us the ability to take advantage of or use more of the resources that this platform, YouTube, has to offer, such as live streaming, question and answers, super chat. And as our subscription rate goes up, we'll be able to provide more avenues in which to provide the skills you need to rid yourself of a child support program. We also have a Facebook page as well, and we are also expanding on Instagram. And please follow us on Instagram. So this brings us to our goal, plans, and success session. We'll look at these 5 areas: the driver's license program, the income withholding, the financial analytics, the support magistrate and hearing officer, and law enforcement. So let's start with the driver's license suspension program. We did a video on the Cavadas versus DMV results. Those gentlemen won their case in court in New Jersey, and as of April 1st, actually April 2nd in New Jersey, the suspension of driver's license has discontinued. The Wright versus Family Services case is still ongoing. They're in the middle of litigation. And we will continue to bring you updates when we have it. But at the time, we didn't feel that we should have provided you any information on that case because it started and it's brand new. But we can tell you this: there are 2 counties in Missouri in which they do not revoke your license. One of them is St. Louis County. The prosecutor for that county unequivocally came out and said, we will no longer follow the Office of Child Support suspension driver's license program because we consider that unconstitutional, the same decision that was reached in the Cavadas. Now, we're hoping, or everyone in Missouri is hoping, that the Wright case versus Family Services, they will rule in favor of the same process. So, as I've said, 2 counties in Missouri, they do not do revocation of driver's license, but the rest of the state does. And we'll bring you the results of this case. Income withholding. As we said in 2019, uh, the CCPA, the Consumer Protection Act, what guides or what is used to protect individuals from that program. But now that the Office of Child Support Enforcement is now in collaboration with your employer, they signed a multi-million-dollar partnership where their goal and only goal is to speed up the process for income withholding orders. We'll expand more on this in 2020 to see if there's any opportunities for you to separate yourself from it. But walk away with this thought in mind. Your employer is now working against you from the Office of Child Support. That means if the Office of Child Support program has any errors in their processes, your employer is as a responsibility as a contractor to work against you. And I know many of you, you love your job, you love your boss, but this has nothing to do with that. This is clearly a contract situation. And we'll expand on that in 2020. Next is the analytics. We reviewed Texas later in 2019, and we discovered that of all the states, Texas made the most money from the child support program. They collected $4.2 billion for the program. We also compared that with the next populous state, which is California. California made approximately $2.3 billion. So the question we looked into in the video is, what's the difference between the two? Please, we suggest you review the Texas and California videos again. Support magistrate. We've touched on this in 2019, but in 2020, we'll provide more details. We've said that most gentlemen who enter the system, you enter through what is called a support magistrate, her hearing officer who's acting as if they are judges. Now, in some of those positions, they're actually judges whose contract with the child support agency, but in that capacity, in their official capacity, they're no longer judges. They're called either administrative law attorneys or just magistrate and hearing officer. And what we're going to focus on is this. We feel that there is a fraud in that process, as well as we will look at negligence, whether they can be held liable for the mistakes that they made. We've said that they are delving into accounting, of which they have no license to do, to work on, but yet they get away with that. We'll look at the fiduciary responsibility. Do they have a responsibility to you, the person who's been affected by their calculation of the child support payment? And then we'll get more into what is called notice of claim. We've said, in our opinion, or my opinion, that the magistrate can be sued because he or she is operating without a license on financial instrument. And the notice of claim is a very important instrument. If you want to sue the state or the county or the magistrate, a notice of claim is one of those requirements before embarking on that effort. And we'll talk more about the functions for that. Law enforcement. We mentioned it when we started this channel. However, we have not really dissected or taken it apart. We'll look more closely at the role of the police officers in the room, the correctional facilities, the private prisons, the law, what they call law guardians. We'll take a look at those because, as we now know, they're all under contract, 45 CFR 302.34. So let's look at those contracts and how we know that they're under contract. In the case that we cite, U.S. versus Sage, where the justices came back with the decision, it is a Second Circuit decision, that child support is nothing more than an interstate or intrastate contract, not a court order. It is a contract. So all of this in 2019, we started with what we call the 5 lawsuits. We use what is called the Department of Justice letter of 2016. And yes, the letter was revoked by the current administration. However, that didn't change the fact that they had some really good case laws in the document that you could use to separate from the program. Right now, as you know, the Department of Motor Vehicle lawsuits are ongoing and continuing. I think other states will join in on that process as well, and we will bring you more information if there's any new lawsuits that are started. The magistrate, again, will touch on that in 2020. So here we are now at what is our call to action. So in this section, we are going to look at the 2020 new strategies to stop child support. We mentioned the Department of Justice letter and the COL form, as well as the contracts between the Attorney General's office and the lawyers who work on behalf of the Attorney General's office, the OCSC offices. But we're going to focus primarily on these three areas: give back your license, again, because of all the DMV lawsuits. Next, we're going to look at the income withholding orders. With this agreement between your employer and your and the program, uh, there could be an opportunity for abuse, which then becomes an advantage to you to get out of the program. The other area we're looking at is 1099 workers. They and independent workers, they're in a special category. Uh, they have what we consider a better opportunity to escape the program than a W-2 worker. And so we're encouraged anyone who needs to discuss with me further on these three areas, but of course, other areas. And reach out to us. And for any reason you think that, well, you could be, again, more focused on escaping the program, reach out to us. We're also saying, as a bonus, if you've purchased templates or you've downloaded a template from a website, or someone passes a template for you or documentation, feel free to reach out to us. We're agnostic. We'll look at your draft paperwork. We'll give you our opinions. We welcome anyone. If you've submitted paperwork that you think should have been decided in another way, again, we provide education for you on those topics. If you have further question or comments, please feel free to email us, email me. We're also asking if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. This helps us to take sort of more advantage of the tools that are available on YouTube and Google, such as live stream, super chat. And we're going to continue doing research in this area of child support for the 2020 decade. And while that's going on, we're humbly asking for a small gift or donation to our efforts. Uh, One gentleman who reached out to us said, uh, uh, the way we've structured our channel, it's the same thing as, asking me to sit down at a cup of coffee at Starbucks and offer to basically buy you your favorite beverage and basically talk about, their individual situation regarding the program. On this screen, we have a few videos if you want to check out that we've completed in 2019. Again, we have some new videos coming in 2020, and we want to thank you for listening to us, and Happy New Year.